All right, I went live on the
Turn
stream.
it up for Washington.
Ba 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 ba. All right, we'll just get started. It's Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight we are reviewing Pac-Man 99.
420.
Did you see the guy in Union Square?
I did. I posted about that guy before we even saw the guy.
As that guy was retweeted into my stream like 1,000 times. All right. I guess we should start with the serious thing.
How many different things can human history make happen on this day every year? Right?
Yep. This Meanwhile, there's that day a long time ago where the BBC was like, famously, I think it was in the 30s, there was no news today, and they just played music during their like mandated news hour. But
I think there was news.
Well, there was a lot of news, but it was all bad news for the colonial empire. So, yeah. All right. So we're not going to dwell on this, not because it's not important and not because we don't think people should talk about it, but because there are a lot of non-white voices you can listen to about this right now. Like, you really don't need the opinions of two white dudes doing a podcast. But Derek Chauvin, the cop who murdered George Floyd on video, was surprisingly, which I think that word is that's a load-bearing word right there, was found guilty on all counts. He was taken to jail, like right after the trial, a little bit before we did Geek Nights.
Well, it's 2021, and is that the fucking first time that that's happened?
The fact that that is news in 2021, correct verdict found in murder trial of black man by police officers. Yeah. But
I mean, this still isn't justice, which would be George Floyd not being dead, right?
Yep. Maybe systemic reform of the concept of policing such that armed white dudes with guns don't show up and just murder people.
Yeah, but it's not nothing.
It's a little baby step. In the context, it was the right thing, but it's far from enough. But don't ignore this. Like, honestly, go read the news. Go look at black voices speaking about this. There's really nothing we can add to that, but we also can't just stay silent. I mean, Black Lives Matter. If you're coming to a podcast looking for escapism, that is Geek Nights is not the place for you. Just saying.
I mean,
and there's
I was just saying, before the show, for some reason, human history, or I guess our society, I guess in recent history, really loves to make a lot of significant events happen on 420. So,
what was
1 year from now?
There's no good way to segue. The thing that's always bothered me about regular news is that they'll talk about something serious and heavy, like what we just talked about, and then there'll be that slight pause. In other news, puppies found in blah. Like, it's like those transitions are hard to navigate, so we're just gonna do a hard break. But the best tweet I saw about 420, irrespective of all the real news that happened today, was "Happy birthday to weed." So, yeah, like, honestly...
Dog says don't remember to leave milk and cookies out for him.
But, yeah, like, go read about, if you somehow don't know about the trial of Derek Chauvin, the man who murdered George Floyd, like, go read about it. This is important, and there's going to be a lot more conversation about this everywhere, and you cannot and should not avoid that conversation, and also be very suspicious of anyone who has a media platform who doesn't say anything about it at all. People who are completely silent about this are probably trying to avoid, quote, controversy, and that implies they're probably a bad person. Like, benefit of the doubt is not given in those circumstances.
And obviously, if anyone is, saying that, this is wrong, you don't even need to hesitate. Just be like, block, report, ban, whatever.
Yep, like, just block, report immediately. Kick them out of whatever platforms you own. Pretty confident we won't see any of that in the Geek Nights community, but if anyone's out there, like, your days are numbered in our community at least.
The Geek Nights community is, abolish police, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, in other news, there is gigantic news in the gaming world. There's a game you might have heard of called, most places call it football, but in America they call it soccer. This news is actually way bigger than you might realize if you don't pay attention to the news around football.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of our listeners are in other parts of the world or soccer fans and already know more than I know and more than we can say about this topic, but I did research it and I know enough that if there is anyone who is perhaps from the United States or doesn't know anything about soccer, football, I can inform you greatly. And as people who know a lot about games, we can comment on that as well. So here's what happened, right? I got to lay some groundwork. In the United States, we just have professional sports leagues, and that's sort of it, right? We only have national teams for like Olympics and stuff, right? We don't really care about those or pay attention to those. Other countries, they do care about national teams, right? But they also have, non-national teams, right? So for soccer, you'll have something like the World Cup. And when you have the World Cup, you have national teams, right? Spain versus France versus Germany versus Sudan, whatever country, right? But the other sports leagues, everywhere around the world, there are different soccer leagues for different parts of the world. There's South American soccer leagues, Australian soccer league, right? All different. Everyone's got different regional leagues. FIFA is the international one, right? But in Europe, they have UEFA, right, which is European soccer. So each country in Europe, right? So like in Britain, in the UK, they've got their Premier League, which is the top level soccer, but it's only UK soccer. And then underneath, they've got like FA Cup, right? And then in Germany, you've got like the Bundesliga, which is German soccer that has different tiers of skill levels, right? The top one, and then minor leagues underneath it. But then you have UEFA. And UEFA is basically like saying, okay, imagine if Canada had a separate a separate baseball, and Mexico had a separate baseball, and Japan does have a baseball, and Korea has a baseball, right? And those are all professional leagues. Imagine if there was a North America. Okay, whoever won the World Series in the United States and the World Series of Canada and the World Series of Mexico are all going to fight each other, right? And yet another battle. So it's like, they have this thing in Europe called the Champions League. And it's basically like, we're going to take the best teams from the Premier League and the Bundesliga, right? These aren't national teams. It's not Team Germany with all German players. Mm-hmm. It's just the best team from the German Soccer League, which might not even have all German players on it,
Yep. Now, a lot of the reasons why this whole structure exists, like there's a long, complicated history of sports. I think a lot of Americans have a very skewed idea of how sports work because American sports are pretty unique in how monolithic they are.
Yes. But basically every year they have this Champions League where the best teams from all the country leagues get together, right? And they battle it out. And then the champion of that's basically like the World Series of the Super Bowl of European soccer. It's like enormous, right? Other than the World Cup, that's like the biggest fucking deal, right? The Champions League. I think they even have like a Champion Super Cup where it's like whoever wins the Euro League and whoever wins the Champions League play one game against each other, and that's like the Super Bowl, right? Regardless, what's happened is that basically teams, in each of these country leagues, right? It's like in the Premier League, some teams are bigger than others, right? Liverpool is a bigger team than I guess Man City, right? Even though Man City, I think, has risen, I've heard, for what I've paid attention to it, right?
Yep. Would not to be confused with Manchester United.
It's clearly not the same team. In Spain, right? In the Spanish Soccer League, obviously Real Madrid is a bigger team. Right. Yeah. And those same teams like Real Madrid is, even though it'll be participating in different leagues, it's like the same team playing in different tournaments. Right. You don't see that in the United States. You don't see the New York Mets playing in different baseball tournaments besides Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Right? But that's how it is in Europe. Right. And other parts of the world for soccer is the same club will engage in different tournaments. Right. And try to win them. So basically, teams are not all on the same level. There's not a lot of parity, and they have other things like relegation. So what has happened is, in order to make money, and make also, partially encouraged by, the loss of money in the COVID times, the best teams, like the top tier teams, the Real Madrids of the world, right?
Yep, 12 teams were part of this, at least originally. There's breaking news in the last few hours about this that we'll get to.
Yes. So like 12, like the best teams from all around Europe, right? The ones with the most money, the most fans, the best players, the big deal ones, right? From several different leagues got together and on their own said, you know what? We're going to make this super league, right? We're just going to play fucking each other, right? And then maybe we'll let, the 5 best other teams play with us, but those slots aren't permanent slots. We're going to give ourselves permanent slots because the Champions League that exists now, there's no permanent slots on that. You have to earn your way into it by winning.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have a big, expensive team that's with all the best players and for some reason you stink it up one year, you're not going to be in the Champions League. You're going to not win that. So the Super League is based like, hey, if we just have all the best teams from all around Europe, the most popular ones, just play each other in our own tournament, and we invite in a few other teams, that are the best ones each year to sort of round out the field, that will be the most watched, most popular league. Screw your Champions League and screw your, whatever normal league you're playing in, right? This is where the money's going to be in the Super League that we just made. Sort of like in, college football, right? You'll have like the best teams, they don't care about playing these other garbo colleges no one ever heard of. Right?
Yeah, they're not making like Michigan State's hockey team play against RIT despite them technically being Division 1. Like they break it up. Good teams play good teams. There's a whole system.
Anyway, so this announcement that came out of nowhere has basically gotten all kinds of negative backlash, of course, because basically the individual leagues, right? So it's like, the Spanish league is like, oh, you're going to go and do that? Maybe we'll just kick Real Madrid out of the Spanish league. You want to do that, huh?
Yeah. The fan reactions were, because football fans internationally, for a lot of reasons, care about their sport in a lot of different ways from how the average American cares about American-centric sports. So fans were not happy. If there's one thing you can say that is pretty universal among hardcore football or soccer fans globally, they don't like things to change generally about the sport. They want the rules to stay the same. They want the traditions to hold. They want the clubs to be the center of attention or the center of how things are structured. It's just radically different from how, if you watch like American football, things work. So fans were outraged to a degree that surprised a lot of people who are not soccer fans.
Mm-hmm. It also, you got to think about, it's like, what does it mean to win, even if they just went through with this and everyone was okay with it, right? It's like, well, now what would it mean to win the Champions League, right? It's like suddenly the meaning of the other tournaments changes when right? It's like,
yeah. Well, because it's club focused. Like, look at
you have a Grand Slam of tennis every year. There's 4 major tennises: U.S. Open, French Open, Wimbledon, Australian Open, right? If you add a 5th one, suddenly, what does that mean for all the previous years of tennis? If you take away one, what does that mean? Right? It's like,
meanwhile, compare it to like any American sport. Like hockey's good because we're getting near the end of the season. With hockey in America, there were multiple hockey leagues in the ancient past of America. Eventually, one became the league everyone agreed was the one, and everything else either disappeared, became a minor league, got folded in, etc. I'm not going to explain the history of the NHL, but the NHL now, because of money, consolidation, everything else, they are literally the best hockey teams in the world. There aren't other hockey teams that could even compete with them pretty much anywhere. So the NHL sort of exists as the place where the worst team there is probably still better than the best team in literally any other league on earth for hockey. That is so far from true with football.
Yeah. I mean, you might have some of the best players in the world in, the German league or the Premier League, right? And it's like those players are going to whoever spends the most money, and all those leagues make enough money to have, at least some clubs in some of those leagues have enough money to pay those players. Yeah. So it's not like literally all the best players in the world are in the league in one country, right? But if you look at maybe, the Champions League, then yeah, maybe. But, then again, there might be some players playing in South America. That's just why the World Cup matters a lot more, right? Yeah. People don't care too much about the World Cup of hockey as much as they could.
Yep. So the fascinating thing was the backlash. Like, I did see people on my feed who were actually pro this when it first announced, but mostly they were They were all Americans. I went back through my tweets. Literally every person who was excited or tweeted positively.
It's like, oh, all the best teams will play against each other in this awesome mega league. That sounds cool, but actually, no, it's a money grab. All these these basically billionaires, right, trying to fuck over the millionaires who own the smaller teams.
Yep.
Right, by basically just leaving their league. Right, if you're in the Spanish league and you're a smaller team. You get to play against Real Madrid, and you get money when you play against them, and you get money when they come to visit you and play against you.
Yep.
They're just gonna leave and be like, we don't want to play with you anymore. We're just gonna play against the other billionaire-owned teams. All the millionaires are losing a lot of money on that, right?
Yeah. And what does that look like in the U.S.?
A lot of money on that.
A lot of hockey teams disappeared because if you can't make money playing in the NHL, there's nowhere for you to go. The Hartford Whalers just disappeared.
They went to Carolina.
Well, yeah. Some teams go completely bankrupt. Some teams, the franchise gets renamed and moved somewhere else. Sometimes it gets moved without being renamed. There's actually a lot of hockey teams you've probably never heard of.
It's also, soccer is not a meritocracy. Obviously, nothing is.
Yep.
But this is definitely significantly less meritocracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that the Champions League, at least nominally, is like, yeah, if you somehow the shit Garbo team in some league that no one ever heard of suddenly is way good one year, there's some phenomenon or whatever.
Yep.
They could win it. It could happen, right?
But you also see the lack of parity, because this is a problem, especially remember when we talked about footy a long time ago in Australia and how one team is just better than everyone else because there aren't that many people who are good enough in that sport. Mm-hmm. With soccer, lots of people are good at it, but a lot of American sports will have things like salary caps or league rules that force some.
That's about keeping labor costs down.
It's about keeping labor costs down, but it also, if you look just at individual games, it ostensibly forces some amount of parity within those leagues.
That's how they sell it to fans, right? Because it's not untrue, but that's how you basically get fans to take the side of the owners against the players.
Yep. But the alternative isn't great either. With completely unrestricted salary caps or a managed league, you could get into a situation where the Red Wings and the Rangers and a few other teams that have a lot of money literally just buy all the best players and do very well all the time. Yankees.
Yep.
So
Yankees aren't doing well right now.
They're not. But that's why this is complicated. There's pros and cons of all the different structures. I'm not saying the American system is great, but the backlash was so great on this that apparently Ed Woodward, who's the chairman of Manchester United, resigned today over this, over the backlash to join the European Super League in the first place. They then redacted that and said that he'd been planning to leave all along and just happened to announce it. I don't buy that for
the timing is suspicious.
Tell you what, if you believe that, there's a bridge I can see outside my window that I'd be happy to sell you.
I've never heard of this person before, but it's like if you're going to retire and suddenly a big news related to you that is negative happens, it's like even if you were planning to retire, just don't announce that retirement. Go home to act like a retired person, but just don't announce anything until a little bit later.
PR rule number 1. It doesn't matter what the truth is. If the appearance is real bad, it's going to be just as much of a problem for you as if it's literally true. Case in point, we were playing Among Us the other night. I didn't murder someone. I literally found the body and looked like I was walking in one direction. Scott saw me and reported it and claimed that I was the imposter. I was the imposter, but I did not murder that person. The truth of me not murdering that person did not in any way impact the fact that Scott saw me walking away from a body. So,
all right.
So Arsenal.
There's a problem.
Yeah, Arsenal. I
didn't push the record button until halfway.
All right.
Through about soccer.
God damn it, Scott. That's fine. I have the backup audio from the Discord, so I can still cut the show together just fine. As long as you hit record now-ish. I
hit record actually a little while ago. I just didn't say anything until just now.
I'll warn people. I'll cut a bit in warning people that Scott's audio will be a little bit bad in the beginning, and then it'll get better.
7 minutes ago, I pushed the record button.
Oh, good. That's fine. I can deal with that. But redundancy for a reason. I'm actually doing some consulting with someone right now about how to do redundancy for streams.
Mm-hmm.
So, as of 5:55 p.m. Eastern time, breaking news right before we record the show, Arsenal announced, I'll link to it, quote, As a result of listening to you and the wider football community over recent days, we are withdrawing from this proposed Super League. We made a mistake, and we apologize for it. They spelled apologize with an S. Sure. So, yeah, the Super League basically completely collapsed, as far as I can tell. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I guess that's good. It's a win for millionaires in the fight against billionaires.
Yep, and it's not a win or a loss for the sport. It's just a historic moment for the sport, is what I would say, because there are pros and cons of all these different kinds of structures. One could argue that on average, Super League games, had it come to fruition, might have been individually more entertaining as just instances of soccer being played among professionals than the average soccer game that gets played today. Like, you could make that argument.
Well, I think what would have happened likely is the same, is that Super League would have become a lot like the leagues we have in the United States, where that league has just more money than any other league, right, that exists. And thus, all the best players from all around the world would be in that league, and every other league would be a second-tier league at best. Even the existing, Premier League and Bundesliga, they would all be second-tier leagues at best. It's like that would be the league that is the top league. Other than that, only like the World Cup would be the only other top-tier soccer that existed.
Fans would probably try to argue that no, like the spirit of soccer, like we would stick to our other teams. Like, yeah, I think the other leagues would probably do way better than minor or alternative leagues do, say, in the U.S.
They would take their support. They're sustaining themselves now without, second and third tier soccer leagues now sustain themselves, and all around the world they would continue to do so.
But I bet
that would be the top league in the world.
I bet the Super League would have drawn a lot of international viewers from outside of Europe, way more than European leagues already do.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, this is a continuing to evolve situation. So everything we've reported on this is like as of 6:45 p.m.-ish Eastern time on 420. So who knows what'll happen by the time you actually listen to this. In other big news, Jeff Kaplan, the game director for Overwatch, is leaving Blizzard after nearly 20 years.
Right. So, I mean, what does this mean? Whatever. But, it feels like every single Blizzard person who we know their name has left Blizzard, and it's now like a ship of Theseus over there.
I think at this point, almost everyone I have met enough times to know their name and be friendly with them and have exchanged things like phone numbers and email addresses has left Blizzard. I don't know. I got to double check.
Activision bought Blizzard. The quote real Blizzard people were there for a while. Then there was like the layoff situation. And then slowly but surely the big name people at Blizzard peeled away and have been replaced by whoever else was, waiting behind them. And now it's like almost, I think every game at Blizzard has like a new, not the original crew on it. And all those other people are out working on something else somewhere else.
So Aaron Keller, who's worked with Kaplan, is taking over. I don't think anything will fundamentally change. But what's notable is that Kaplan, in my opinion, as someone who plays a lot of Overwatch, and like that's a space in gaming we don't talk about as much on GeekNights because Scott doesn't play FPSs anymore. But I think Kaplan did possibly the best job that could have been done with a game like this. And I think he was instrumental in the game, like not to minimize the efforts of everyone else involved, but he did a good job of steering the game to take immediate hard stances on things that like game design decisions to make sure that they didn't ruin the game. They always did the right thing. They supported the Overwatch League and competitive play without giving up on casual play. I think the game has enough momentum and foundation to basically continue without loss, but in the longest term, I wonder what this means for like Overwatch 2 and beyond. I wonder if different decisions might be made, particularly around community management, but we'll see. I don't know enough about Aaron Keller to say anything about that yet.
Hearthstone has survived all this time, and the original people have long gone.
I think the difference is Hearthstone is much more of a casual game where there's a lot more grind. Like there's no grind in Overwatch. If you're good, you're good. Like you want to get
grind in Hearthstone, you just spend the money.
Yeah, spend the money, spend the time, get in the tournaments, whatever. Overwatch, if you're good, you could be you can be top tier contender immediately if you're actually that good. But anyway, we'll see how that progresses. We'll probably talk more about Overwatch again once Overwatch 2 comes out. Scrabble has banned a whole bunch of racial slurs from the official
Good,
Scrabble
because
dictionary.
There have been times in my life where I have had racial slurs tiles just handed to me, and they've been worth a lot of Scrabble points. And I was, it's like, well,
Yep.
do I play them? I don't, It's like, it's good to now say, yes, do not use those words in Scrabble. They're against the rules, right? Get bent.
Yep.
I
Now-
approve. That is very nice.
The other thing I approve of is that the way they did it is they did not publish the list of the 400 words they removed, because it appears they were worried people would use that list as a list of offensive terms. Like, they basically just said, no, don't use these words.
They just published a new Scrabble dictionary and removed 400 words from it.
Yes, and the biggest part is there's the official Scrabble dictionary checker, like the online thing you can use. Those words just do not show up as valid anymore. There appears to be a significant amount of pushback and anger from a subset of the competitive Scrabble world. And those people, I think, are in all cases absolute, I think the industry term is shitbags.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who is mad about this is a bad person. There is no purity to Scrabble as a sport in this regard. Removing those words does not materially impact the game in any way. It just makes it better.
If you think about it, right, Scrabble is like a memorization game, right? If you think about the Scrabble dictionary, they don't let you have it with you when you play,
Yep.
which maybe they should. It might be more interesting. But it's like, the of all the different mahjong types, old Jewish lady mahjong, the one my mom plays, right? There's a mahjong card that comes out every once in a while that has all the hands that you can score, right? So if you think about it, they keep changing that card to keep things interesting. If Scrabble actually, I think, would be very well served by just changing up its dictionary, not even for a very good reason like this, but simply shake things up, make it more interesting. It's like, all right, guys, AI is a word now. Now it's not. Now it's just an abbreviation of artificial intelligence. Can't use it. No acronyms, right? Just shake things up every once in a while. Keep things interesting, right? Every year, different dictionary. Just because. Who cares?
Yep.
This year, proper nouns okay. Next year, no proper nouns. Whatever.
The trouble with that would be that players probably could not memorize those changes, and the game would be a radically different game, and probably end up being a lot less about area control and like tile management on the board.
I'm just saying it's good to spice things up in a game that has gotten very stale.
Oh, but I would say that separately, the Scrabble community seems pretty like solid and like fine with playing Scrabble as is. So really, the most important change here is they just remove these words. And the best part is anyone who says this will affect their gameplay, that means either they willfully will want to play words that are clearly racial slurs and will say, oh, I didn't know that was a slur. How was I supposed to know that was a slur? Anyone who has trouble playing Scrabble effectively, now that these 400 words have been removed out of the I don't actually know how big the Scrabble dictionary is, but orders of magnitude more than 400 words. Anyone for whom this affects their strategy is just a racist.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who, those words stand out to them when they look at, there are certain ones that are going to stand out to, I think, people with vocabularies, right? But there are other ones that, 400 words. It's like I couldn't, if I was willing to say racial slurs, I don't think.
Could I list 400 racial slurs?
Come up with more than not that many, right? So if these are standing out to you, you've memorized them. Like you look at a random arrangement of tiles of which any number of words could appear, right?
And you're like, haha, that
just
one.
Some random letters of the alphabet. And if the racial slurs are the ones that stand out to you and are worth a lot of points, in your brain, what does that say about your brain?
Right. In another big news from yesterday, what's going on with this week? Remember we talked about how PlayStation was shutting down the PS Vita and PS3 stores. They actually have reversed that decision. The stores will continue operation for the foreseeable future.
Very good.
They issued a really good statement about it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's short. But basically, upon further reflection, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. We're happy to say we'll be keeping the store operational. PSP commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd, 2021 as planned. So they're going to shut down the PSP commerce stuff, but the games will remain online until they decide what to do. I think they said...
They should do, right? See, I think that's what Nintendo also should have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even for the Wii store, is like, look, it's like operating a store, right? It means you have to keep updating it, security updates, money's coming in. It's a big pain in the ass, right? But people who bought games from or bought software from you, right? All you have to do is maintain the ability for people to re-download software they have already purchased, right?
Yep.
If somebody on the Wii, it's gone now, but let's say someone bought a game on the Wii eShop, it's like, okay, no more. But if someone buys a brand new Wii today, they never had one before, they get a used one and set it up. It's like, okay, guess what? You can't buy any digital games anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Store's closed. But if you bought games back in the day, like me, for your Wii, you should be able to download them. Even Apple, if you have an Apple iPhone or any iOS device, and probably also the App Store that's on Macs and whatnot. I have never used that, so I don't know. But there were games and other software that I bought for the iPhone 3G in 2008 or whenever, when that thing came out. Because the day the iPhone 3G came out is the day the App Store came out. They were software that I bought on that day, and that software has not been updated. The developers are gone. You can't buy it in the App Store anymore, right? It probably won't even work on the newest iOS, even, right? But there is a section hidden in the App Store app, even on my iPhone now. I can go into the iPhone 12, I can go into the App Store app, and I can go to the purchased section, and every app I've ever purchased is in there, and I can download them and try to run them, even if the developers are gone or you can't buy them, right? And that's what they should be doing on these other app stores, right? Just keep the downloads up.
Well, the other thing, especially for games where preservation is something, we do need at some point some sort of regulations and laws that basically say if a game requires these online services or whatever, like either the company has to provide some archival method for museums, researchers, libraries, people who bought them in the past to be able to get them and run them without those services, or if that's too onerous of a burden, like a tiny store or something, and the company fails to provide that, it should be legal to hack, pirate, or otherwise acquire those games or do work on them to make them interoperable and still playable.
I think there could be crafted some sort of legislation that says, any digital device that has any sort of storage, right? Any sort of, whether it's even if it's a ROM, right? A read or usually you'd be thinking about read-write storage, right? If you make a device, let's say you make a I don't know, what's a toaster, right? And the toaster has a 1 megabyte flash memory chip in there, right? That has the software for the toaster that's on there, right? It's not even writable. It's read only, or maybe you can flash the firmware or something. It's whatever. There should be a law that's like, hey, if you have a device with storage, there must be some user accessible way to read the bits out of that storage, right?
Well, specifically to be able to run that software somewhere else if certain conditions are met such that it's no longer supported by the company or the rights holders.
So I open the toaster, there should be some sort of connector where I can connect like USB and mount the just some sort of, even if it's really arduous to use it, it needs to exist. Some user accessible or even just a documented way for whatever software is in there to be, backed up by people. So if it would apply to an app store, it's like, yeah, if you have a PS Vita and people buy and the software gets downloaded or whatever, there needs to be some way on the PS Vita device for users to be able to access those files that they just downloaded to copy them somewhere,
Yep. In some other minor news, Nintendo Labo, the cardboard thing that was pretty cool. Nintendo removed the dedicated site for Labo a little while ago.
So, on the one hand, Labo is obviously not doing. Labo is the one time in my life that I bought extra of a thing, thinking, hey, this is gonna sell out everywhere.
Yep.
And so I bought, when the Labo first came out, I bought 2 of each, and I ended up giving 2 away.
I mean, it was a moderately cool toy, but it wasn't
it's fun. Yeah, I saw the 2 that I still have. I didn't use them all yet. I still have some. I didn't build everything yet, but yeah, it's still cool, but it did not perform well, and they continued to release, I think, 1 or more set, maybe 2, but
So from what I read, Nintendo won't say anything. They basically said, "Oh, don't read anything into the fact that we got rid of the dedicated page for Labo."
Yeah, they're like, we're reorganizing our websites. We do that
sure.
once in a while. You can find out about Labo at Nintendo.com. There's still Labo pages on Nintendo.com. We just don't have a dedicated Labo page anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is a credible rumor that there's going to be basically one more Labo announcement, and then Labo is actually done. And Nintendo didn't think people would notice that they had removed the website.
Sure. I do, on the one hand, yes, I do think Labo is kind of done because it isn't selling that well.
Even from the beginning, like they only sold about 1 million from what I'm reading. Like it did not sell.
But at the same time, yes, not in this instance, but there are a lot of instances. I think people read way too much into someone took a website down, so-and-so liked someone else's tweet, or someone liked someone's celebrity A likes celebrity B.
God, I have whole ass retweeted things by accident.
Someone unfollowed someone. Ooh, that means they're gonna, someone changed their profile on their social media account. That means they're quitting their job, right? It's like why aren't they? Someone in a band took the name of the band out of their profile. It means they're breaking up, right? It's like,
well, you know what that is? That is one piece of data that can be used with a preponderance of other data.
I'm not saying it's that means it's wrong, but I'm just saying don't jump fully to the conclusion.
True,
right? Just based on that thing. It's just like, you could think of it as like a hint. It's like, oh, someone did, think to do that. So maybe, but don't just be like, oh, that's it. Nintendo's canceling Labo because it's like, oh, maybe.
No, with Nintendo specifically, I have this just feeling based on the history of Nintendo and all the times this kind of thing happens. When that kind of thing happens at Nintendo, it pretty much always means the thing is dead.
Probably, yeah.
Like Nintendo does not.
You could have convinced me Labo was dead without the website changing.
Yeah. And last, a little tiny thing. Railroad Inc. is a super cute roll and write game.
Have we talked about it on the show before?
I think we reviewed it. I'm not sure if we did or not, actually.
Maybe it's part of our show on Roll and Rights.
We might have talked about it in a general, because there's so many of them and they're so good. But basically,
show on Roll and Rights, yeah.
Railroad Inc. is coming out this summer on Steam.
Hooray!
I'm excited about that because I actually really
a lot of digital Roll and Rights going around. So
exactly,
that's
and it's coming out summer, so this will be another game we can play online with friends before COVID calms down, and there's a chance for us to start to enter a post-COVID world and see people in person someday.
Mm-hmm. Plus, that Root expansion for digital is coming.
Oh, in like a week. It's coming soon.
We're going to be playing a lot of online Root as soon as that hits. So
I call Otters first game we play.
I mean, I don't really even care if I am the Otters.
I just want the Otters there.
Yeah, it's like I'm happy to just continue to be a vagabond or a communist or cat or even, right? It's like it's just not bird, obviously. I just want the other.
I think you have the record for most. Yeah, I think you literally have the record for most collapsed governments as the birds in a single game that I've ever seen.
I'm not good with birds, but I just want the other, to be there to mix things up. It's really gets a little bit stale with the same factions over and over.
It's funny how I'm not gonna claim I'm like great at Root or anything. Like I don't win that often, but weirdly with the birds, it's like Voldo with me. Like I'm just like the birds are my Voldo in Root. Like I'm just weirdly good at them in a way that is. I can't even explain exactly what I'm doing differently.
Somehow, I think it's obvious that if you're birds and you don't turmoil ever, right? You're gonna do really well, and you just somehow you find a way
to never turmoil,
or maybe turmoil one time and that's it.
Well, the turmoil on a particular turn on purpose is like the galaxy brain strategy with the birds.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna have to do the one turmoil, you want to do it at the right moment, right?
But yeah, my strategy is never turmoil. Why would you ever turmoil? And you know what?
That strategy, I'm just very bad at seeing the lines to execute it.
Yep.
Even though I want to do it every time.
Somehow I'll pull it off, except that one time when Friend of the Foxes came out, and I did not expect that. All right, let me put a marker. But anyway, things of the day. So this video is titled, Guy Plays Dead After Goose Bites Him to See What He Would Do. And it's a video where apparently this person there's a goose that he knows. Like he has a name for this goose, and the goose knows him. I get the impression the goose likes to bite. So this conceit. It's a short video where he's like, you know what I'm going to do? They do. Hiss and then bite. So he's like, all right, I'm going to get the goose to come over. If the goose bites me, I'm going to fall over and play dead. Like, see what the goose does if the goose wins the fight. And I did not expect how this video was going to end. And all I'm going to say is it's not even 3 minutes long. The payoff at the end of this video is above and beyond what you will be expecting. It is delightful.
Okay, I'll have to watch that.
It's pretty good, especially because you'll see. I don't want to spoil it. I was surprised by this ending. This is not the best thing that I've ever had. Like, don't think I don't want to overhype this, but the ending is appropriate.
All right, so I don't know how many people are familiar with the craft of needle felting. It's basically you can basically make anything out of just like little bits of wool, right? You sort of I don't know exactly how you do it. I usually see at Artist Alley people have made cute things out of needle felt usually, right? And you can make basically anything. It's almost like using wool instead of clay is the way I think about it, right? But anyway, there's this YouTube channel which is my thing of the day. That only has 6.67 thousand subscribers, which is nowhere near enough. And it's called Andrea Love. I assume that's the person's name who's running the channel. And this person uploaded a video 10 years ago, a video 6 years ago, and then starting 1 year ago, which I'm going to assume is pandemic related. They became very active on YouTube, posting their third video, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 more videos within the year. One of them 5 days ago, another one 11 hours ago, right? So this person is, in the past year, become very active on YouTube, and their thing is they're really fucking good at needle felting. And what they do is they basically use needle felting to do animation, basically the way you would do claymation, only with needle felt. Stop motion, right? And the videos that they have made are mostly the best series that they've done is the cooking with wool.
Oh, those look real good.
They've made this little wool kitchen, and in the wool kitchen they'll cook wool food, and the only hand is like their big human hand coming in, right? But it's like the things that they have crafted, like they do smoke and steam and cutting objects, and they made a cake and they cut the cake. It's just like things go in the oven. It's like really the attention to detail and the high level of craftsmanship. Like any one of these videos is like A+ thing of the day, and there's a whole channel full of them. The one they did today is digital wool drawing. It looks like they basically recreated a Photoshop with wool. It's like, holy shit. Just someone drawing on an iPad made out of wool. You'll understand once you see it. This is fantastic, and this needs at least 100 times more subscribers than it has.
I just subscribed.
Yeah.
In the meta moment. So my reading of Genji slowed down a little bit. I was busy all week.
You don't say.
I think it'll pick up this weekend because it is real nice and warm out now. And sitting in a park and reading has been my plan coming out of winter for a long time. And I'm feeling it so hard that I suspect by this weekend, I'm going to accelerate again. Otherwise, our stuff's all online. Go check it out. I dug up, and I'll link to them, the handful of GeekNights merch stuff that's out there. A lot of it still uses our old logo, and I'm working on a project to replace the old GeekNights shirts that are available on Amazon with newer ones that have the new logo and are updated in some fashions. But I did actually stick up as a test the first new thing that uses our new branding. There is a GeekNights pop socket if you want to buy it on Amazon. It cost me 10 minutes of futzing in Photoshop to get the template to work.
I never understood the pop socket.
I do not like pop sockets.
I tried one once. People were, I looked at it and I said, that's silly. Why do you need that for? I've never had a problem holding my phone.
Well, because you have a normal size phone, not these gigantic ones these kids are all buying.
People were like, my coworkers like, oh, no, you got to try it. I was skeptical too, right? So our company, my previous company actually gave everyone pop sockets at one point. So I stuck it on my phone and I tried it out. And I was like, I had it on there for like a week. Then I was like, that's enough of that. And
it's like, this is annoying. It's actually harder to hold my phone with this than just holding it in my hand.
Yeah. But if you're maybe, you're someone who needs one, why not a GeekNights one? Because there's probably a better, cooler one you could get, and probably not from Amazon. Maybe like an artist made one or something cool. Get that instead. I'd say.
But I figure if we're gonna have a presence there, I'll at least put our basic ass merch out there. I think we get like $1 if you buy one. Don't think buying that will send us a lot of
Pop
money.
socket isn't even worth $1. They're free. Maybe we should buy a bunch, just hand them out. I guess that'd be better.
I can order these in bulk to give away as trinkets and such pretty easily too.
Yeah.
I'm going with the low effort shop for now. All right, let's get right into it. Let's review the show because I'm getting hungry. I haven't eaten yet, and there's important hockey.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Pac-Man 99 is
Before we gotta talk about Pac-Man 99, we gotta talk about Tetris 99.
which I never actually played.
Oh, you never played Tetris 99?
No, I know the deal with it. I just literally never played it.
So Nintendo, to get people to use Nintendo Online has been, making actually, some interesting, multiplayer games and other things that you just get for having Nintendo Online, which almost make it worth, paying the $20 a year instead of just getting the ability to play Nintendo games online, which would not be worth any money whatsoever.
Yep.
Considering how poor of an experience it is. But, among the things they're giving out for free to people who have Nintendo Online on their Switch are some of these interesting multiplayer experiences. It began with Tetris 99. Then for a period, I believe it's gone now because the Mario anniversary celebration's over. There was the Mario 35, whatever. And now there is Pac-Man 99. So the deal is it's basically they're taking the sort of PUBG, elimination model and applying it to more traditional old school games. So Tetris 99 is like, hey, you're going to play Tetris. 99 other people are going to be playing Tetris at the same time. When you complete, lines, you do damage to other people, right? You're going to choose who you're going to damage. So there's 4 choices of like who you're going to send your lines to. It's not just sending them to everybody. We would all die instantly if we all received 99 people sending lines to us on our Tetris boards, right? That aren't 99 lines tall. And you just play Tetris and you try to see if you can be the last one alive and not die. And it's like, that's a really, really good concept. It's executed really well. You can still play it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
The thing is, Tetris is a game where it's natural to have this sort of push towards elimination, right? It gets faster, first of all, which kills people who don't have enough skill to play fast Tetris. But even if it doesn't get faster, right? If people are pushing lines on you, you're gonna die eventually.
Yep. You got to keep line parity with them, meaning you got to be working at least as fast as they're working or you're going to get overwhelmed eventually.
Yep, there is a natural push to elimination in Tetris. It doesn't need much modification to become this elimination game. So when they said Pac-Man 99, it's like, ooh, I like a Pac-Man, right? But Pac-Man doesn't have, this multiplayer, there's never been a thing where like you damage other people who are also playing Pac-Man,
Yep.
right? And you're not going to be on the same board eating each other like Pac-Man Battle Royale or Pac-Man Versus.
Yep.
It's 99 people, each individually playing normal old Pac-Man. So how the hell is it going to work? What will be the pressure? Because there could be 2 people who are so good at Pac-Man they can play it forever. Who's going to be eliminated, right?
Well, like that Duck Hunt tournament where you and me and our friend Katsu were literally we could go forever. There's no point we're going to miss a discus.
Yeah. See the GeekNights panel, ends of games. You need some sort of pressure to push towards the end of the game. So good ending condition. So you need an elimination condition, obviously, if you have a, elimination type PUBG game.
Yep.
People need some way to die. When you're playing Pac-Man, some people might just die on their own, but you need something else. So what they did is they added 2 spicy things to the game, right? The first thing is, you eat a power pellet and you eat some ghosts. And when you eat the ghosts, you're going to choose who you attack, just like you do in Tetris 99.
Yep.
And you're going to send what's known as jammer Pac-Man to the other board. And what the jammer Pac-Man is basically little outlines of Pac-Man, and they move around.
They don't kill you, but they slow you down if you run through them.
So if your board fills up with a whole bunch of them, that could spell doom for you because it'll help the ghost catch you and kill you because you'll be stuck in the sea of jammer Pac-Man moving at like 1 pixel a second, right? And if you touch a power pellet, all the jammer Pac-Man go away.
Yep.
The second thing they added was that once the game gets down to only 50 people playing, they start to add, I forget what the name for them is, but they're
The red jammers?
Something like that.
I think they're just called red jammers. There's red Pac-Man that'll show up. Not only do they kill you if you touch them, but power pellets do not let you eat them.
No, power pellets they're basically red outlines of Pac-Man. If you eat a power pellet, they'll stop moving. They'll be frozen in place. But if you didn't eat a power pellet, they'll chase you, and they are instant death. You cannot eat them like you can eat a ghost. They are, so if your board fills with these guys, you are getting very close to losing the game. And if the other person is doing well and eating lots of ghosts, your board will fill with them, and that will pressure you into losing, right? So how do you do more damage? So they've added something from Pac-Man CEDX, right? The sleeping sort of ghost
trains.
Yeah, the ghost train. So
it becomes a game of you can get big combos. You can basically pick up these sleeping ghosts who will follow a real ghost, and then you can eat a lot of ghosts at once. And the longer you keep that combo going, the more and more damage you're sending out to other players.
Yep, just like Pac-Man CE, right? CEDX. You can get the sleeping ghosts, and then they fill up, right? And
now, what's interesting... go on.
Also took from CEDX or CE, whatever, is that, you sort of these quadrants of the board, right? So when the board loads, you never know if 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 quadrants will be full of pellets. If you eat all the pellets that are on the board, your speed will go up by 1. That's real important to clear the board to get your speed up, because that's what's going to help you survive.
Yep.
When the game
this gets
dangerous.
A little complicated because they added this. There's an option where you can choose basically what to upgrade, like what to focus.
No. So that's a little different, right? So if you clear the board of regular pellets, you get a permanent speed boost, right? Your speed just goes up by 1. And then if you eat the fruit will appear in its normal spot if half the board is cleared. And
there's some debate as to whether or not it's actually half.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's roughly 75% of the pellets that are there seems to be the number.
Oh, okay. But
because as an aside, I have a Reddit thread where basically Nintendo didn't actually explain the details of how these mechanics work.
They didn't explain shit. The whole internet is like trying to figure it out.
Yep. So there's a Reddit thread where people are constantly figuring out like the details of how this works and getting it wrong, and it's kind of an annoying aside we'll get to toward the end.
Yeah. But anyway, the fruit appears at some point. When you eat the fruit, the board resets. So if you've cleared the whole board and your speed went up, you're going to want to go eat that fruit to get a new board, right? But there's another thing the fruit does is it can clear all the red jammer Pac-Man, the super deadly ones. So the general strategy that I've built for this game is early on when the game is slow and there's a lot of players left and the red jammer Pac-Man aren't even there because they don't appear until half the players are eliminated. You want to clear your whole board to get your speed up. I can usually get my speed up to like 3, sometimes 4, right? And then once you hear the sound that announces like half the players have been eliminated, now is the time to just be like, all right, fuck that. I don't care about clearing the whole board anymore. Just stay alive.
Yep.
If the fruit is there, eat it. So get the fruit, eat the fruit, get the fruit, eat the fruit to keep the red guys down and to stay alive and to keep the danger level down. Don't worry about getting your speed up anymore. It's up enough, right?
Yep.
Maybe if you get really quiet board, you can get another, you can try to clear it, but
now this is where the game gets like
now.
A little complicated because Nintendo doesn't explain what these options do, not in a meaningful way, but you have to choose. And it seems like these take effect anytime you eat a power pellet. What will happen? We have standard, stronger, speed, and train are the 4 options. Yep. And skilled players will be flipping between these in opportune moments. And it's not super fun to engage with this mechanic. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's a little bit annoying, right? Especially since we don't understand it. But
so like standard doesn't do anything. Stronger, yeah, standard doesn't do anything.
No.
No, they say they've confirmed it doesn't do anything. Stronger increases the amount of jammers you send to other players per ghost you eat, but causes
So I guess you would want to switch to stronger right at the moment you're about to eat ghosts. And then switch back to standard.
It apparently doesn't take effect until the next power pellet you eat after you change it. And the downside of that one...
So if you're going to eat ghosts with this power pellet because your train is full, you want to switch to stronger, eat a power pellet, then eat all the ghosts, then switch back to standard.
The downside is your power pellets expire much faster when you're in that mode.
Right, so you want to get the ghost train close to that power pellet when you're when you have the stronger mode set.
If you choose speed... it increases your speed, but decreases the number of jammers you send. And if you pick train, it increases the number of sleeping ghosts that get activated when you pick up sleeping ghosts, but it also spawns yellow jammers on your own board when that happens.
Well, that doesn't seem too bad. So I guess the strategy would be switch to train early, right?
Yep.
When you want to, get a lot of ghosts going,
And then flip it to stronger with a big combo.
Eat all the ghosts to do a lot more damage, and then keep it on standard, but maybe late in the game, getting the extra speed may or may not be worth it depending on the situation.
But you also got to flip between who you attack, random, counter, hunter, and knockout. Which the game also doesn't actually explain, but...
Oh, no. Well, who you attack doesn't matter too much, right?
No.
I mean, so knockout is going to send, when you eat ghost, it's going to send jammers to whoever is close to dying, however the game measures that, right? Hunter is going to send your ghosts towards the people who have gotten a lot of knockouts. So the people who are doing lots of damage and killing and finishing off lots of the opponents. Let's say Rim's got 5 kills. If I put on Hunter, it's probably going to make me attack Rim because Rim is, dangerous.
That's why the one I pick almost all the time is counter. It sends ghosts at whoever, or jammers at whoever attacked you, basically.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good one because if someone is attacking you, whether it's for whatever their setting is, you don't even know what their setting is. It could be they could have randomly be attacking you, or they could be hunting you because you got a lot of kills. But counter will attack the people who are attacking you, and if you kill those people, you'll have less people attacking you, at least short term, until new people decide to attack you. And you have counter, it'll probably let you breathe easier if you eliminate people who are on your back, right?
Yep.
And then random, it sends them to someone at random. I don't think choosing who to attack matters too much in the early game. I think it really matters more in the later game, right? When you're down to just a few, like you're in the top 10, and it's like, then it can start to matter a bit. But to pay attention to that and like to see how the other people are doing, it's same thing like in Tetris 99. It feels really impossible to do while also trying to play the game. It's like I just focus on staying alive in the Pac-Man. I don't pay attention to the targeting too much.
I focus on staying alive, and when I think about it, if I'm making it near the end, like there's only 20-ish people left, I will think about trying to like do stronger, hit someone hard, but not often.
Yeah, I basically just set the 2 settings at the start and then, just play, right? It's get my speed up and then try to stay alive once I can't get my speed up anymore.
That seems to be like those, like the top tier players will really like deal with these like options that are poorly defined, at least for the players. But honestly, the game is more fun if you don't worry about too much and literally just focus on getting big combos and surviving as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about this and Tetris 99 and the Mario one is that it's a multiplayer experience, right? That has none of like the negative stuff that you usually can get with multiplayer games, right? You play Counter-Strike, it's like, bad things happen that make you not want to play Counter-Strike.
Yep.
Here, even though it's multiplayer, even though you get that competition, the winning and losing against other human beings, you're really just, it's just you playing Pac-Man. There's no one's on your board coming after you.
Yep.
Right.
And it's real quick to find a game because a lot of people are playing it right now. And it is real quick. Like if you lose, just hit A couple times and you're almost immediately in another game.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like the perfect, I guess no one can chat at you. There's 99 people. Who's going to chat at you? And there isn't even a chat feature anyway.
Now, watch out. The game has a bunch of DLC that you should probably just ignore. There's like all this customizable, you can purchase downloadable custom themes.
Yeah, so for free, for no money whatsoever, right? The free game lets you play Pac-Man 99, right? And that's it. If you pay money, there are some things you can unlock that are purely cosmetic, right? Your board has a different skin on it. Stuff like you can change your fruits.
There's like you can pay $2 real and have your game look like Tower of Draga.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, okay, who cares? You can. One nice thing they did do is the DLCs. You can buy them all in a complete bundle. Right?
It's $30.
Yeah, But you do, if you, there is more than just the cosmetic stuff. There is basically like a way, the modes where you can play on your own and, you know, do other, there are other play modes.
Password match, score attack, blind time attack, 8 Pac-Man arrangements, 20 custom themes is what you get if you pay for that.
Yeah, so the 20 custom themes are purely cosmetic, but the rest of it is actually like other modes. So if you really like this game, maybe it's worth it to buy those other modes, and you know, you'll play more than just Pac-Man 99. You could probably get your skills up in those modes.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll help you play Pac-Man 99 maybe a little better. Personally though, if I was not going to be playing that base mode of Pac-Man 99, why not just play Pac-Man CEDX?
I was about to say, Pac-Man CEDX
superior as a single player experience.
It's just way more tight and fun, and I get into a flow state. This game is a lot more reacting to stuff, especially once there's a lot of jammers around. Like, it's an okay fun game, but like, I'm not going to try to be competitive and serious at this. I doubt we'll be playing this game much a year from now. But there's no reason not to try it out.
It's fun. It's free if you have Nintendo, if you have a Switch and you have Nintendo Online.
Which, don't forget, if you have a bunch of friends, you can all make a big family plan together on that.
Yeah. You can also set up private matches. So if you have like, maybe, you know, it's not going to be fun with just a few people, but let's say you got 12 friends at a party and everyone has a Switch, you can play Pac-Man 12.
Yeah.
You don't have to play with random internet people.
That could be okay.
As long as you have enough people, that could be pretty fun. And I think everyone I know has a Switch, right?
Yeah. The thing is, what I'd much rather play is Pac-Man Versus, even though that only takes 4 players, because that is a seriously good game.
Yeah, but that's like I was saying, that's more of the direct multiplayer.
That could have a lot more bad feelings. This game, like you pointed out, gives a lot of ego shield. It's fun and you lose, but whatever. And if you win, like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, it's not... I don't think there are many people who are going to take this game seriously enough to get head up about it.
No, I'm looking forward to see, you know, hope Nintendo continues this like 99 series. Not only would it make renewing the Nintendo Online subscription worthwhile, but also I just, you know, I'm not like, I don't think any of these games, like none of the 3 so far have I gotten deep into. But I've played all of them enough to be like, oh, I'm maybe almost getting the money's worth of $20 a year, right?
Yeah.
You know, kind of, a little bit.
I'll admit, I was poking at
just 99 games.
I was poking at the NES and SNES emulators in there the other day, just kind of randomly, and I'm 2 dungeons deep in beating Kid Icarus for real.
Yeah, I mean, it's like those emulators are still just like, you know. It's like, okay, they've got the best of in there, right?
Yeah.
And some other gems.
And like, it can't compete with, I can sit at my actual computer with an 8-bit controller, and I have literally every NES game ever made.
Yep.
But the convenience of, I'm sitting with my Switch, and I can just click on it, and it just works for a few of these games. Sometimes I just poke at it. But I don't think I'd pay money for that.
No. But yeah, it's a thing. So, Pac-Man 99... You know, nice, fun, good Pac-Man. I recommend. I also obviously recommend Pac-Man CEDX, one of my faves.
Yep. God, how long ago did we review that? GeekNights.
Yeah, I would not run out and buy like a Switch to play Pac-Man 99. I think that's a little stretch.
Yeah. All right, I think we're good.
I think Truba got hurt.
Oh, God damn it.
He wasn't looking good.